Just it. I suck at this. Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to Beyond Credit. On this episode, we have the one and only Mr. Josh Giebel. Josh, how you doing, man?
Doing great. Happy to be here. A little jittery
Awesome.
from all the caffeine I've had today, but thank you for
Yeah,
having me.
yeah. Man, it's a pleasure. I'm happy that we were finally able to do this. We tried quite a ways back, and life kind of got in the way for both of us, but here we are making it happen now. Also, very hopped up on caffeine. All right, man. So let's just dive right into it. First and foremost, some people might not know you're actually engaged, right?
Indeed. Yes, I have a fiance of a little over a year now. Long engagement, but
Yeah.
uh, no wedding date yet. We're still trying to figure out all of those logistics. And of course,
Yeah.
the most important part is which subs to hit with the spend.
There you go. So speaking of that, is she into the game herself?
Kind of. She has become a member of the game, if you will. But it was very much like, Josh, why do you have so many cards? Why do you keep getting cards, man? Like, and after we took our first trip together, like on points, I had like that aha moment.
Right.
We can do a lot with this. This is after like a bunch of like cash trips that we took together, too. So kind of like a looking back, like, oh, we could have done so much.
Right, right. Yeah, I think everybody has that moment with their player too where they see it click for them and they're like, "Oh, okay, I get it now." Speaking of travel, you travel a little bit for your job. You've traveled once for your job. What exactly is your job?
So I work in the international development sector for a federal contractor for USAID. So we make sure that they are doing what they're supposed to be doing and doing it well. And if there's places that they need to work on, we get paid to essentially tell them why things aren't working and how they could be better.
Cool.
But I don't
Cool.
do any of that specifically. I just make sure that nothing is catching on fire.
Oh, a very important job. You specifically work in two areas. You work in the Caribbean area and also in the West Africa area, correct?
My first trip to the entire continent of Africa, but specifically West Africa, was back at the end of February.
Which is exactly the time that we weren't able to film this the first time.
Exactly. Part of the life happens.
Yeah, you were out there saving the world. But while you were there, it was kind of interesting because you were there in the midst of an active civil war, right?
Yes, casually went to a level 4 travel advisory country. But yes, the place is technically in a civil war. Where I was in the capital was much safer. Well, safe, relatively. But there, unfortunately, is a lot of like strife among like marginalized ethnic groups in the country. When the country gained independence from its former colonial power, but whoever made the border did not know what the heck they were doing, and it's been a problem.
So, being engaged, obviously you were engaged back in February. You've been engaged for a year. How did your fiance feel about that? Like the one time you actually travel for work and you end up going to a safe active war zone. I bet that was pretty
Yeah.
interesting, huh?
Oh yeah, she was. I mean, she was happy for me because it was like it's a good thing for my career. Like these kinds of trips are like big resume builders, which is kind of a strange thing to think about. But Um, on the other hand, she was like, "Oh my god, my fiance is going to a war zone. He's gonna die."
Right.
um,
Right.
so she actually just like filled her entire schedule with things to do so that she would not give herself like too much time to worry. Like I told her to do
Right.
that. I was like, you gotta just fill out the schedule.
Yeah.
So she went home to Massachusetts where her family lives for a little bit, and then but yeah, she's like when I came back, she said, "Can you be the last person on the list to go again?" I was like, "Yes."
How long were you actually gone for?
Uh, like 2 weeks, I think. So
Oh, okay. That's not too
I
bad.
2 weeks and then like travel days on either end.
Right, right.
Yeah, some people go for like 3 months.
Yeah.
Uh, and I don't need to do that.
Yeah. Okay, so moving away from, you know, saving the world, um, I learned something about you, which was kind of surprising because you're kind of a young guy. You're 23. You're also a classically trained bassist, but you're a retired classically trained bassist at the age of 23.
Yes, I am a retired classically trained bassist by the age of 23. Uh, I I played like not competitively, but like at like a high level, I guess you could say, in high school, and like I started taking lessons in like elementary school. Didn't really achieve anything until high school, and then I almost went to a music conservatory. Um, but
Mm.
ultimately, I ended up just deciding against it, uh, mostly because it's I don't know. It was like I really like playing, but I don't like uh, I don't want it to be my entire life. And if you go to conservatory, like it would become my like, one's entire life.
All right. So you never got your chance to play with John Williams.
Unfortunately, oh man, that would have been.
All
Uh,
right. So you also told me that you're very much into Star Trek.
yes, I am a bit of a super fan. I have
Yeah.
seen every episode from the original pilot of the original series to the series finale of Star Trek Discovery last month. Uh,
So
so I
every
like it a little
episode
bit.
of every show. Does that include the Star
Yes,
Trek the animated series?
it does.
Wow.
Animated
That's
series is
impressive.
really funny.
That's impressive. So what is it about Star Trek that you like so much?
I think I mean it really answers that question. Well, I mean it doesn't answer it, but it gives a fictional answer to the question that everybody's been asking for like however many years we've all been here. Like are we alone? And
Mm.
we don't know that yet, but Vulcans are going to be here at some point.
So what was your favorite which was your favorite show in the series?
Ooh, that's a tough one. I got so many favorites, but I think a lot of people really like Deep Space Nine, and I have to agree. It just brought the
Yeah.
franchise to like a whole new level. I think.
Yeah, I remember growing up, sometimes I'd sit down and watch that with my parents while it was running. But all right, Josh, I'm going to put you to the test. You claim to be a Star Trek super nerd. You've got you've got the evidence, having seen every single episode of every show. So I'm going to give you a little Star Trek trivia quiz. Are you ready?
As I'll ever be.
All right, here we go. It's only 5 questions. It shouldn't be too hard for a super nerd. Here we go. The first question. In Gene Roddenberry's original treatment for Star Trek, the starship wasn't called the USS Enterprise. What was it called?
Yorktown.
That's it.
I think.
Correct. You're right.
Yeah.
Okay. Question number 2. What is Sulu's primary position on the Enterprise? That
It's the
question's
helmsman.
actually kind of a helmsman, yes. I was going to say that
It,
question's
it
kind of worded like, but yeah, you got it. All right. 2 out of 3 or
depends.
2 out of 5. It depends. All right. Question number 3.
Yeah.
Which Star Trek captain has an artificial heart?
Oh, Picard.
Picard. All right. Question 4. What is Deanna Troy's favorite food?
Any form of chocolate.
Any form of chocolate. Last question. I have total confidence in you now. You nailed those first 4. This one's going to be a piece of cake for you. Who is the head of security for the space station Deep Space Nine?
Oh, that is our good Constable Odo.
That's correct. Odo, ladies and gentlemen, super Star Trek nerd Josh Giebel, 100%. Good job, man. Good job. All right. So,
Thank you. Thank you very much.
one of the reasons you're into it is because it fictionally answers the question, are we alone? What do you think? Do you think we're alone? Do you think there's aliens out there?
Oh, we can't be alone. There's just when I think about like space and just how massive it is and how it's like allegedly still forming, however many millions of light years away from Earth. It just seems like the odds are much higher that we're not alone.
Right. So, do you think that we've been visited, that we've actually had, outside intelligence come to Earth?
Yes, but I don't think it's like the way that people typically think of it. Like, oh my gosh, aliens, they're gonna come and take over the world. My take is we're too primitive. They don't care about us.
Right.
um, but they'll like fly past our planet or something, and then maybe like go, oh, there's living beings down there. Let's go
Right.
just survey the planet or something.
Well, and that makes sense too, because if you understand the science of like how you would have to travel from, you know, as far as we know, the next closest livable, system in the universe, in order to be able to make that travel like within your own lifetime and safely and not just disintegrate yourself in the process, you'd have to be way more advanced than we are. So, yeah, the obvious link from Aliens is you're also very into cooking.
Oh, of course.
Right? Yeah. Did you ever see? I just reminded myself. Did you ever see that episode of The Simpsons where the aliens have the human cookbook and they keep going back and forth, blowing the dust off of the cover? It's like to to
No,
cook
I don't think I
humans,
saw
to
the
cook for
episode.
humans. Yeah, it's like an old one, but anyway.
Wait a minute.
um. So what do you like to cook?
It really depends. I am like a flexitarian. I tried to stay pescatarian as much as I can, but
It's
it's just
hard.
expensive, man.
Yeah.
uh,
Yeah.
and also meat tastes good.
Yeah.
um,
Right.
but my fiance is a vegetarian. Uh, so like if I'm gonna cook things, like usually I don't want to just cook something that she can't eat. So
Hmm.
I typically make a lot of vegetarian food.
Yeah.
It's also just much cheaper
Yeah.
from a practical standpoint. But
For sure. I'm with you on the
yeah,
pescatarian thing too. I would love to be strictly pescatarian, but cows and pigs are so delicious. So delicious.
it's not fair.
A, pi- a pig is my favorite animal because they take oxygen and turn it into bacon. Like, there's nothing better in the
See,
world than that. Like,
like
um, eh,
best resource.
right? Right? And one more interest of yours that you mentioned to me that I want to cover is you're actually very into traveling to different national parks, right?
Yeah, I've only been to a few, but I've I saw like those like they're not passports, but like those little booklets with like all the national parks in them.
Yeah. I know what
And
you're
like
talking about.
people, like they fill them out and stuff.
Yeah.
But I grew up in Washington State, and Washington State has three national parks, all of which are within like a 4 hour drive of Seattle if you
Mm.
go fast. So,
If you go fast.
uh, kind of like a yeah, yeah. So, kind of like a childhood thing for me.
Yeah.
Childhood interest that is like only recently I've been like, oh yeah, that was fun. Because the DMV doesn't really have a lot outside of Shenandoah, which is really beautiful. I still need to get out there. But after that, it's like devoid of national parks for a while.
Mm. So, which is the favorite one your favorite one that you've been to so far?
I think it has to be Olympic National Park, which is on the peninsula of Western Washington. Um, it just has so many different like types of nature. You could say there's like snowy mountain ranges, and then there's like a rainforest, just
Mm.
in the same place, temperate, but
Wow.
there's like a bunch of coastline as well. It's very interesting. Like the park doesn't extend all the way to the ocean, but like they took like a tiny sliver of the coast and made it part of the park, so it's all protected. And uh, there's like a lot of really great places to like beach camp and things.
That's cool. Have you ever been through like the forests of Oregon?
I've driven through like one time like my parents took my brother and I on like a road trip down to California. Big mistake. um
Mhm.
uh putting the two of us in the back seat for like however long. Uh but we got to drive through like the all the forests and stuff in Oregon and then into the redwoods.
See any Bigfoots or chupacabras, or do you get that eerie feeling that people talk about? Like maybe you didn't see anything, but you just got that shiver.
Not on that trip, but I definitely have like I've done some like remote hikes with my like two like childhood best friends. Like we uh whenever we're all like back in the area, sometimes we'll like go do a hike or something. But uh, they keep picking these like strange like out of the way trails that which is nice because there's nobody there, but at the same time it's like there's nobody there.
Right? That's kind of creepy. See, that's one of the things I want to do. I don't know if my wife would be down for that, but like that kind of spooky, weird, Oregon woodsy kind of thing. Yeah, I'm all about that. I want to try that one day. But speaking about traveling to different national parks, you, when you travel, you like to collect things. Um, some of those things are Christmas ornaments from every place you visit, right?
Yes. We so I can't take credit for this one. My fiance started doing it like maybe on like our third or fourth trip together.
Mm-hmm.
Uh but after that it kind of just grew and grew and grew, and then we uh it started out with like get one in like a state or country, just one. But now it's like every city you go to in the country or the state, uh grab another ornament. So we actually have enough to fill two Christmas trees now. uh
Wow.
so we have to choose like which ones we want. But we have one, at least one from every place we went while we were kind of backpacking Europe for a month, like 2 years
Wow.
ago.
That's cool. So you're not talking like little Charlie Brown Christmas trees that you could fit like two ornaments on. You're talking about full size, at least 6 foot or bigger Christmas trees, right?
Yeah, yeah, they're fake trees. Maybe I don't know if they're that big, but they're definitely like yeah. We
Full
did two
size.
trees. Uh, yeah, we did two of them at one point, and then I was like, no, we can only do one.
When I mentioned that to my wife, after we, shared our notes earlier, she had the same question I had. She was like, "Is it hard to get them year round? Because you're not only traveling at Christmas time,
No,
right?"
No, no. I don't think I've ever traveled internationally at Christmas time. But you'd be surprised. It's really weird. There's like Christmas shops that are open year round,
Yeah.
uh,
Yeah.
which is both terrifying and cool all at the same time.
Right. We actually have one in, I'm in Florida, and in St. Augustine, we have, I think it's just called the Christmas store, and it's one of those year-round Christmas shops. But I just kind of figured that was just like a St. Augustine thing. But yeah, it makes sense that they would kind of be everywhere.
Oh yeah, uh, definitely pay some tourist prices for those for sure. But
Yeah. What's the most interesting ornament that you've gotten?
oh, that's a hard one. I'd have to go
Is
pull
there
out
one
all the
that like
ornaments.
stands out?
Uh, uh, kind of. There's these like I don't want to say the wrong country. uh, they're these like handcrafted, painted little like they're like Easter eggs, but for Christmas. um,
Yeah.
and they're from Croatia, and
Oh,
we
okay.
spent a few days there.
Cool. Dude, don't worry. There's going to be like 20 people that see this, and none of them are going to be from Croatia or any other country. So don't worry. So, another thing that you collect when you travel, and this is actually kind of cool, you collect transit cards from different places that you visit.
Yeah, I take like the public transit systems like if I'm in, a city that has a good one, just to save money. And it started out just like, oh, I'm gonna do this and save some money. Now I have this random paper ticket and just throw it in my backpack and be like, all right, I'll worry about this later. I don't have time to like sort this properly. But then I
Yeah.
just kept doing that, and then by the end of the trip, I opened up my backpack and I was like, oh, and then from there, I've just collected like a pass uh, from every place that I've been to. So I've got uh, ones from both here in the U.S. and in Europe.
That's cool. So, let me ask you, what's scarier, being in the middle of a civil war or taking public transit?
Depends on the system, but definitely depends. Uh,
Yeah.
there are some that I was like, oh my god, never put me on that system ever again.
So, how many times would you say you travel a year?
uh, internationally, at least once. Domestic, I would say like 5 or 6. But this year, I will have done 3 international trips, and I think count here. I will have done at least 10 domestic trips. So a little bit more travel heavy this
Wow.
year.
Yeah, that's a lot. All on points? No, not all on points, right? That's a lot of points.
No, oh no, mostly not.
That,
Honestly,
yeah, that would be
uh,
a lot of points.
that'd be crazy. Like, where am I getting all these
Yeah.
points from?
So, speaking of points,
I
actually,
did
what
one.
is your?
Uh,
Oh, go ahead. Go ahead.
oh, I was just gonna say I did one trip on points this year. That's it.
Yeah. International or domestic?
Uh, international for I went to Europe last month.
Last one. That's so okay. Cool.
Did, round trip.
So I know this.
Yeah.
Dude, this delay is killing us. We were doing so good for so long, and then like boom, two in a row. Okay, so I know this is beyond credit, and we don't talk about credit and stuff, but just curious, what is your favorite travel card?
It is right now. I think it is the well. It's a well, I can't pick one over the other. It's a tie between the U.S. Bank Altitude Reserve and the Capital One Benchmark. For me,
Yeah,
it makes a crazy amount of sense uh, to use them together as like my big travel setup. But I don't think it makes sense for like I'm the 1 out of 10.
I have the Venture X myself. I love that card. And I'm keep hearing, especially in the Discord, the U.S. Altitude Reserve is getting like a lot of love recently. were we talking about before all this happened? Oh yeah, the cards, the U.S. bank card.
Yeah.
So yeah. So yeah, anyway, I just, the US bank card seems to be getting a lot of love on YouTube and in the Discord right now, but for me personally, I've never really been interested. I don't know if it's because I always heard they were just hard to get or what, but people are like the US Bank Altitude Reserve, and I'm like, eh.
Yeah,
Um,
they're definitely hard to get. Uh, they're really hard to get with like recent velocity. Like they'll shut you down. Like nope.
yeah,
I applied, I
yeah,
think, like one card in the last 6 months or something, and I had
oh
to
yeah,
like call reconsideration from
oh wow,
from the country that I was in for work.
oh man, wow. Do they have business cards?
Yes. I know. John R in the Discord and here on YouTube has, I think, the Business Connect. I think he just got it.
Okay, cool. See, I might look into that because what am I now? I think I just became 624 last month, but I won't be 424 until like next April. So if I open any more cards,
Yeah.
it's got to be business cards now. So maybe I'll look at that one. Anyway, okay, back to Beyond Credit where we don't talk about credit. Um,
Yes.
let's do your favorites. You ready?
Oh, here we go.
Okay, here we go. I think I know the answer to this one. Favorite movie?
Star Trek First Contact.
I didn't know it was going to be First Contact, but I knew it was going to be Star Trek. Favorite song?
I don't have one. Uh, not right now.
Okay. That was the same answer I gave when Anthony Fincher asked me that question. I'm like, I don't know. Favorite food?
Yeah, yeah. I That's another one. It's like, oh, I have so many. But I really like sushi, even though I can't afford to eat it
Yeah.
on the East Coast anymore.
What sushi do you like? Do you have like a favorite type of roll?
Uh, I think anything with like tuna is gonna. I'll destroy it. um,
Yeah. Yeah.
but yeah, I don't discriminate. You put sushi in front of me, it's gonna be gone in like 10 seconds.
Do you eat sushi with eel in it?
I've tried it before. It was
Have you?
good. But that for whatever
Yeah.
reason, like the spot that I went to, like I used to go like twice a week in high school. Like that was not a good idea.
Yeah.
But I had eel and it was good, but it was like $5 more than like the other rolls. So it was like
Mm.
not good enough, I think.
Right, right. See, eel's the one sushi that I haven't tried yet. I don't know why. For some reason, it just kind of like when I think about it, I'm like eel. It's like I think for me, it's
Yeah.
like too close to a snake or something. I don't know. I don't know. For some reason, that one just weirds me out. Anyway,
Oh,
okay. Um, Android or
fair.
iPhone?
I am currently recording with an iPhone 14, so I have to
All
say
right.
iPhone, but it pains me to say iPhone.
It pains you. Why?
They're not built to last. And I think that's like my biggest like gripe. Like, well, also just like the consumerism like around Apple.
Yeah.
People like always
Yeah.
like, oh, I need the newest Apple everything. Like,
Yeah. I used to be one of those people who upgraded my iPhone every
but
year.
I like it.
Now I do like every 3 years.
Oh,
Yeah. But I used to be really
yeah, I
bad.
finally upgraded. Uh, I had like a XR or something that I got in like
Mm.
5 years ago. And I finally just
Yeah.
had enough. I was recording with
Yeah.
the XR for YouTube for a while, and then I was like, I'm done.
Yeah. Yeah. That's what I actually just upgraded last year and I got the 15 Pro Max. Um, that's what I'm recording on right now. And this phone is amazing. I love this phone. I'll be happy to hold on to this one for the next 3 years. I say that now. Watch, like the iPhone 16 is going to be something amazing. Okay, favorite sports team?
The Seattle Seahawks
Seattle
are winning it
Seahawks.
all.
All right, so let me ask you, since your favorite team is the Seahawks, what do you think about what's going on with Russell Wilson?
I don't know. Part of me is like, yeah, yeah, yeah. um, like he's bouncing around teams now.
Yeah,
But then on the other hand, like he's the greatest Seahawks quarterback of all time, and I'm like, oh, I don't. He doesn't quite deserve
yeah,
that. Except I'm still, yeah, I'm still laughing.
yeah. I liked him. Like, I'm not a Seahawks fan by any means. You know, I'm on the East Coast. I'm a
Yeah,
Dolphins fan, but when he was there, I liked him. And yeah, he just man, his career just kind of like.
yeah.
um.
It's
Okay,
the
what's your
year in
favorite
Denver must have been
vacation spot?
terrible.
Yeah, yeah.
Ooh,
See, I feel bad.
favorite.
Denver kind of like royally shafted him. We just like subject.
Yeah, favorite vacation. Vacay spot.
Favorite vacation.
I'm not. Yeah, I'm not a beach guy really, which is interesting because I'm going to Cancun in August for the first time. Like, that'll be fun. But I don't know. I like urban vacations. If that makes sense. Like going to a new city and then just like
Mm.
walking all over it.
Why don't you like beaches that much?
I don't know. I didn't grow up with good beaches. Well, Washington State
Mm.
beaches suck. uh, the sand is gray year round because it rains a
Yeah,
lot.
yeah.
And it's cold and I don't know. And there's like a bunch of like because all the beaches are like really like protected nature for the most part, which is great on the one hand, but on the other hand, it's like okay, there's that pile of rotting kelp that's been sitting there for a week.
Okay, so let's get into some deep questions. Some questions where we find out exactly who Josh Giebel really is as a person. You ready?
All right. All
Okay,
right.
here we go. Josh, what scares you?
Uh, change and failure.
Um, what makes you happy?
What makes me happy? Uh, I think being in the company of people who are like genuinely like invested in me, not just like me, but like in themselves. Uh, people who like just give up good energy, and there's not like I don't have like a huge like friend circle or like huge family or anything, but uh, the people I do like keep close around me, very quality people, and they make me happy.
Your fiance?
She is included in that.
All right, Josh. What is the worst way to die?
I was waiting for this one. the worst way to the worst way to die is drowning.
Drowning.
There's
Man, that is a popular one.
uh, it's 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 like that like you're not in any control of what's happening, and like it takes a while, and you're like completely well, for up until almost the end, like people are like completely conscious, knowing exactly what's happening, unless you're like on a sub and then it implodes, like uh,
Yeah,
ocean.
yeah.
But
Okay, so you actually brought up the lack of control. So, what makes drowning worse than something else that you're not in control of? Like the example I brought up with Chad was like being in a plane that's going down.
yeah, uh, that's interesting. Um, obviously you're not going to be in control of that either. But there's like I guess like a perceived feeling that you have some slight control, like in like that scenario, like oh maybe I'll be the lucky person sitting in 34B that survives this thing, and then
Right, the
I'll
one seat
be the
that
guilty
yeah.
survivor. Uh yeah.
Right.
uh but if someone's drowning, it's like well dang, this is this is it, but I really don't want this to be the way that this happens.
Right.
But
You
it's
know, in that video with Chad where I brought up the crashing the plane, I said, that's a long time to know you're going to die if you're in a plane that just starts going down. And someone in the comments like did the math and they were like, from however many thousands of feet, it's only like 45 seconds, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, at first, I was like, oh, wow, that's really quick. But then I thought about it. If you just sit down and you just watch a clock for 45 seconds, 45 seconds is a long time, man. All right. So, what's the best way to live?
The best way to live is to first take care of yourself, and like recognize like if things aren't okay, then they're not. Uh, and like some people, like I think they try to live like perfect lives, and then they're like,
Okay. So, you were saying the best way to live.
Oh, yes. So the best way to live, I think, is to just you need to be like for me, like I need to be mindful of me and like take care of myself and recognize like if things aren't okay, then they are not, and like that's fine as long as you work on that issue. I think so many people, especially now, like uh don't stop to even think about that. They kind of just go like, okay, whatever. I'm gonna like pretend like everything's fine, and they live like they look happy and they look like they're living the best way to live, but they're not. So
Like, they're like that little dog in the room that's on fire. This is fine.
yeah, this is fine.
Yeah. All right. Good answers, man. Good answers. If there is one message that you could give the entire world, everyone in the world is guaranteed to hear this message.
Wow.
What would you say?
Oh, on the spot. I would say that it's very similar to my previous answer, I think. Just take the time to enjoy things because I mean, obviously, I not to preach, but like I saw this live earlier today. This guy was going like, "We're here for that much time." Like he like snapped his fingers and like work. He's like, "We're gone like that." And I was thinking about that today, and I was like, find something that makes you happy, and then just surround yourself with it, uh, in a healthy way, of course.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
yeah,
All
I
right.
think that's just really important.
No, absolutely. Very wise. Very wise. All right, man. Well, those were all the questions I had. Um, Gave some great answers. This was a lot of fun. I enjoyed it. We had a ton of technical hiccups. So this is going to be a fun video to edit.
Yes,
But and now that we're wrapping it up, dude, you are like crystal clear on my screen right now. You're like
of
your
course.
image is pristine right now. it it almost looks better than my image on the other side of the screen. But
Oh, of
say la
course.
vie. That's how it is. All right, man. Well, Josh, thank you so much, man. I really appreciate it. I'm glad that we finally got to do this after however many months of delay. I really did have a good time.
Hmm.
Um, yeah. Okay. This is it. I suck at this. Like the whole like wrapping it up thing. I'm terrible at it. I always like go
All
on and
right. Well,
on, and in my head, my brain is screaming like, "Dude, just shut up and end it already."
it's done.
Yeah, it's done. Just
Well,
end
I'll
it.
help you out.
All right.
Thank you for having me on this, man. It was a ton of fun. I'm glad we got to do it with many hiccups, both scheduling and technical. Uh, but I think it was worth it. This was a very fun conversation. I uh, I don't envy your editing that you have to do now, but I appreciate it, and I look forward to this video coming out, and everybody should watch.
Absolutely, man. Thank you. I'm going to try and get it out as quick as possible. And can I count on you for a future episode of Guess the Card?
Oh yeah, I'm there. That sounds
Awesome.
fun.
All right. Awesome. Well, guys, that was it. I hope you had as much fun watching this as we had filming it. I appreciate you. Thank you so much for watching. God bless and goodbye.